Good evening, everybody. We are talking about university education system in the US, mainly North Carolina. And there is public universities, there is private universities, there is community colleges. We need to understand this system and we need to understand what is the planning for the families and for the students and for the universities and how everybody can benefit from all of the issues in the system. So please welcome with me Mr. Marcio Moreno. He is Associate Vice Chancellor of Admission and Financial Aid at UNC Asheville. Welcome, Mr. Marcio.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Marcio Moreno, Associate Vice Chancellor of Admissions and Financial Aid at UNC Asheville. I have been in the UNC system for over 20 years. Asheville is my fifth university, so I have a lot of knowledge, deep knowledge on the UNC system, and I'm extremely happy to share my knowledge with you all. And I'm happy that I have the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. So we will start with the first question. And the first question is, could you please tell us a general brief about university system education in the US?
Absolutely. The university system in the United States is quite different, quite unique compared to some of other countries. There are many choices. Let's go over a couple of benefits of studying in the UNC system or any institution in the United States. Academic excellence. Some of the best universities in the world are here in the United States. Diversity of programs. There are some universities that offer over 200 programs where to choose from. A large variety of institutions. Remember, there are universities in every state. For example, in North Carolina has 16 public schools and more than 30 private schools. So those are all options for all the students.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, 16
public schools in North Carolina.
And over 30 private universities.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Another of the benefits is we cannot deny that the United States is a leading country in technology and education. So for many majors, for many programs, it makes sense that all the innovation is happening here. Flexibility of programs. There are many universities that actually offer a lot of flexibility for students to pick and choose classes and come up with their own programs. And the last reason, what I would say, this is something very unique for the institutions here in the nation, is a vibrant campus life. Universities are almost like mini cities within a city. And they can actually behave like that. Some students who decide to live on campus, they don't need to go out because everything can be found inside the university. So those are probably very general differences from universities in other parts of the world.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And could you please give us about the UNC and what is the specialty for North Carolina universities?
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, North Carolina, again, has a very robust system of universities. The system is called UNC system, University of North Carolina system. And the system has 16 public universities. Out of the 16 universities, there are 5 that are called HBCUs. HBCU stands for Historically Black College of University.
5?
5, These are institutions where anyone can go, anyone can attend, but they are predominantly for students of colors. African-American students are attending those universities as a majority of the population. We have different sizes. We have universities that have more than 30,000 students, like NC State in Raleigh or UNC Charlotte in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And there are small institutions like Elizabeth City that has a little over 2,000, or like UNC Asheville, like my university, where we have a little less than 3,000 students. There are universities in cities, there are universities in rural, small towns. There are 4 universities that are called NC Promise Schools. This is very important because NC Promise Schools are heavily subsidized. That means that it's a little bit cheaper to attend those universities. Those are Western Carolina, Elizabeth City State University, UNC Pembroke, and Fayetteville State University. Apart from universities, we also have a very, very large system of community colleges. In North Carolina, we have 58 community colleges out of the 100 counties. So almost one community college for every 2 counties. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is the specialty in the Promise universities? It's 5 or 4?
There are 4 NC Promise schools. And if you see the map, the idea is to have one Promise school that is close to everybody in North Carolina within 150 miles. So you have one in the western part of the state, close to where we are. It's called Western North Carolina. You have one in North Carolina South, the South region, that's UNC Pembroke. You have one in the Northeast that's called Elizabeth City State University, and one almost in the middle that is Fayetteville State University. Each one is different. Western has 12,000 students. Elizabeth City has 2. Pembroke has about 6,000 or 7,000 students, and Fayetteville has about 8,000 students. Each one has their specialty. Each one has different programs, but they all have something in common, that is tuition. It is cheaper to go to one of those schools. For someone that lives in North Carolina, it only costs $500 per semester. And for someone that doesn't live in North Carolina, it costs $2,500 per semester for tuition. And tuition is the classes, what the classes cost per semester.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Very well.
And what is the difference between the private and the public universities and the private universities?
The main difference is how much they cost. Every time I mention the word tuition is how much the classes are gonna cost you, okay? Usually public universities will always be cheaper than a private university. For example, I'm gonna take an example of a public university like mine, UNC Asheville. For a student from North Carolina, the full year of the cost of attendance, the tuition, is gonna run around $24,000. For a student attending a private university, is gonna start at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, sometimes $70,000 per year.
What about the education level and the education quality?
Quality is going to depend on each university. There are people that believe that private universities are better, but there are excellent universities in the public system that are just as good. So it depends on what you want, what major, what program are you looking for, because there are some programs who you might find that they are actually just as good or better in a public university rather than a private. Of course, if you are paying, you have more rights, right? And you're going to have maybe some more commodities. For example, private university is going to have probably better housing, better accommodations, better food, but it's going to cost you more. So it's all about really thinking about what you're looking for, finding out who has the program, making a list, and start comparing to make sure that you are choosing not only the best, but also for the best price.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. And now it's the most important thing, which is family need to know about it, the students need to know about it, which is the requirements. So what is the requirements, the major requirements or the minimum requirements for the public universities?
Very good. Excellent question. In North Carolina, we have something called MCR, and MCR stands for Minimum Course Requirement. So these are what classes the students need to be taking in high school in order to be eligible to attend a public university.
Yeah.
So these are 4 math classes, so 4 courses in mathematics, and usually they go in the following sequence: Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then the 4th math needs to have Algebra 2 as a prerequisite. So it should be higher than Algebra 2. The most common 4th math classes are Advanced Functioning and Models, Pre-Calculus, Calculus, Statistics, Discrete Math.
Okay.
So
they supposed to have 4 in math.
4th math classes, and remember, the last math needs to be higher than Algebra 2. And this is a common mistake because some students, they take 4 classes, but they don't pay attention. And the last one might be something called a math for business or finance. And even though those are considered math classes, they are not higher than Algebra 2. So when you come to apply to university, you only have 3, and then you are going to be denied because you don't have the 4th math classes.
Wow. Okay.
Students also need to have 4 courses in English, any type of English. It can be writing, it can be reading, literature, speaking. They need to have 3 courses in sciences. 1 science whose specialty is life science, like biology, ecology, zoology. 1 non-life science, like astronomy, chemistry, earth science, environmental science, and 1 of those needs to have a lab. They also need to have 2 social studies, and 1 needs to be US history or American history. And finally, they need to have 2 additional courses from any of the following: English, math, science, social studies, world languages, or computer science. So all those courses need to be taken in high school. Those are the minimum course requirements. If a student doesn't have all these courses, they don't have the minimum to be accepted into a public university.
So when they apply, this is the first sorting category. So the
Exactly.
university system catch the category related to this. So 4 courses of math and 4 courses of English and 3 science and 2 social science and 1 USA history.
Exactly. And then 2 additional from that list. It can be 1 extra English, 1 extra math, 1 extra science, 1 extra social studies, 1 language, or a computer science.
I have a question. If
Yes.
the student want to study something related like psychology or social activity and something away from the science, and he's supposed to have the math even?
Every student needs to complete minimum course requirements,
Wow.
regardless of what program, what major they are going to study. These are requirements that they need to complete in high school.
Because in some countries outside the United States, there is they start to stop, like they divide the students to 2 parts, 2 different parties. One is continue with the social subjects, and 1 is continue with the science subjects.
Yes.
So that means
for international students, the rule is different. For international students, they don't need to complete a MCR, the minimum course requirement. because, for example, the United States cannot expect someone in Brazil to study US history because Brazil is not going to offer that class, right?
Okay.
Maybe Brazil only teaches 3 math classes, not 4 math classes. So if a student is applying as an international student, right, requesting an F1 visa, a student visa, they are going to be reviewed in a separate category, and the counselor is going to review and make sure that we think that what they are taking in high school is equivalent to what we do in here in the United States. So what we are going to ask is we're going to ask a translated transcript from the school, from the courses that they are taking, so we can understand what they are studying. If the counselor believes that is something similar or equivalent, the students can be admitted without meeting all these minimum course requirements.
Okay, got it. What about, and this is the same if any students holding the citizen, the US citizen, and was studying in some other country?
Exactly, exactly. It's based on where they are studying, regardless of citizenship.
Okay, not it doesn't matter if he's holding the citizen or not.
It doesn't matter. If a US citizen studies in Brazil, again, we are going to study based on what Brazil offer and making sure that those classes are more or less similar or equivalent to what we are looking for here.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. What is the requirements for private universities, and do each university have different requirements? Because if there is like 25 private universities in the United States, in North Carolina, and is there like minimum standard they suppose all to be committed to, or what?
Private universities are independent and they can do their own list of requirements. What we've been talking about the NCR and the mandatory classes, those are for the public and those are for the UNC system. So a private university might require 2 foreign languages, for example, or they might require a specific math. They might require students to take some type of art or music class. So each university that is private has their own right to choose and make their own requirements for their students. And something else that we are not talking, that we're going to be talking probably in the next couple of slides, is that there are many universities that will also require a test. There are 2 big tests in the United States. One is called the SAT and the other one is the ACT. So some universities might require not only the classes, but also a specific number or test result in one of those academic tests.
Yeah, so there is like minimum of all the universities are committed to, which is SAT, or is there like surprises in the university, in the private universities related to the requirements?
Yeah. Each university again have their own right to do something different. I have seen universities that require minimum scores. That means that if you don't have, for example, 1,000 SAT or a 20 ACT, that is like you call the first sort. If you don't have that, they can deny you. They don't continue reading your application. Many universities are like that. Right now, we are still working with waivers because of the pandemic, COVID, for example, for the public universities. We were given 3 years where we have a waiver. But right now, we are making final decisions, and it looks like for the next year, for the class that starts in 2025, the scores are going to come back. So that's why each person needs to be working specifically with the university they are applying to. Because if you are applying to 4 universities, each university might have a different requirement.
So it's it gives a big hope for all the universities. While if it doesn't work here, it will work here for the students.
Exactly.
Thank you. So we always hear that GPA, SAT, ACT. What is this categories?
Perfect. Yeah. These are acronyms that are very important in the enrollment process. When the school talks about GPA, GPA means grade point average. And this is nothing more than what grade, what type of numbering system the school uses in your country. For example, here in the United States, we use a 4-point scale, right? So when you are taking a class, maybe you get 100, you get an A, that equals 4 points. If you get a B, that equals 3 points. If someone gets a C, that equals 2 points. So based on all the grades and all your classes, you get grades that are letters, A, B, C, D, right? And usually a C passes the class. Sometimes a D can pass a class. If you don't get that, you get an F, you don't pass the class. So making an average of all those grades and all those letters give you a grade point average, a GPA, that can go as low as 1, sometimes as 0, right? And as high as 4 or higher. Why higher? Because there are some classes that give you extra points. For example, if you are in a high school taking English, right? That class is the normal English class. But some schools offer something called English honors. Another university, another high school is going to offer AP honors. Another high school might offer something called IB honors, International Bachelor honors. Those courses are going to give you extra points. That's why sometimes you have an applicant that is straight A's and they are a 4.0 GPA. But if they are taking those extra courses, sometimes you see the GPA and they are a 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 because they have those extra points. So that's GPA.
If I understand, sorry, GPA it's the collection and the total of
all the courses, all the classes, exactly.
Courses. Okay, okay. So each one complete the other. So if the student are not in having high marks in math, and in English and the other subjects he's high, so it's all together can fix each other and give him GPA high.
Exactly. And when we talk about GPA, we're talking about high school GPA. So those are 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. So we see many times you have a student that in 9th grade, maybe they had they struggle with classes. They got C's, they got D's. The GPA is maybe 2.5, 2.7, but maybe in 10th grade they bounce back and now they are having very good grades and now they're getting A and B's. So for 10th grade now they are a 3.2, but then you combine 9th grade and 10th grade and now you are at 2.9 or 2.8. So you combine all those grades, all those classes, and then you get one cumulative GPA, a grade point average for all the high schools.
Thank you.
Following with the next term, SAT, let's work with them together. SAT or ACT, those are the two main tests that can be taken, right, to present to the universities that require those scores. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other one. I'll give you a slight introduction to each one. Usually, each university can work with either or. So when you are looking for universities, usually the SAT is a little bit more popular, and it's definitely more popular in the eastern part of the nation. And the ACT is actually more popular in the western part of the state, but it's popular everywhere. SAT stands for Scholastic Aptitude Test. It's a test that is administered nationally, and it's offered 7 times a year. It's offered in August, in October, in November, in December, in March, in May, and in June. It usually costs around $60. It's a long test. It usually takes over 3, almost 4 hours. And it's gonna give you scores in math and in writing, reading, and language. So the scoring is based on a 16-point scale. Again, with 2 sections. One section is math, and the other section is called reading and writing. So you might have a score of 600 in math and 500 in reading and writing. And then you put those two together, and that is your SAT score.
Okay.
The other one is the ACT. ACT stands for American College Testing. And this one has 4 sections. This one has a section in English, a section in math, a section in reading, and a section in science. Each one is going to give you a score, and then you get each score for each section, and then you run an average. The ACT scoring goes to 36. So you might ask yourself, so which one is better? It's up to you. Let's say that you are really, really good in science. Well, if you are good in science, I would suggest you take the ACT because there's a science section in that test. There's not a science section in the other one. The other one might have questions, but there's not a full section. If you are good in mathematics, right? There's a section for mathematics in both. But usually the students, they take one, and immediately, usually based on the scores, they know if they have to take it again. Students usually take it at least twice, sometimes take it twice, 3 times, based on the scores. And there are books, there are courses, there are many things that you can do to study and get ready for this test. These are widely available again, and many universities make it a requirement to have a score. Other universities, they don't. So you need to be looking for what the university is looking for. So you try to get ready to be the best applicant you can based on what they are looking for.
So each student need to have GPA and one of SAT or ACT.
If the university they are applying requires SAT or ACT.
So some universities just have the GPA.
GPA requirement, exactly. For example, for the public universities in North Carolina, the minimum GPA is 2.5. That means that if you have a 2.4, you cannot be admitted because you don't meet the minimum GPA. So remember, we talk about minimum course requirements. So they are requirements for classes. Now there's another requirement of a minimum GPA. So for, again, North Carolina public school is 2.5. So there are now 2 requirements. Other universities will also require the SAT or the ACT, and they have minimums. Right now, the public universities, we don't require it. We might require for next year.
Okay. So this maybe will be required next year, SAT or ACT. Okay.
The SAT or ACT.
Yeah, but the private universities, are this known in their websites related to the categories?
Yes, that is the first thing the students are asked to do. Once you know more or less what university you are going to apply to, or what universities you are interested in, one of the first things you have to do is go to their admissions webpage, and they will list what they are looking for. So this is something that families need to start doing early. I would say they need to start working with this in 9th grade, in 10th grade, right? Why? Because students are going to change their mind, and maybe you might start with 10 universities, but next year you're going to change your mind, and now you only have 5, or maybe you're going to add a couple. So keeping track of your likes, your wants, what do you want, where do you want to apply, and keeping track of the requirements for each university. And Hekmat, there are more requirements, right? Other universities are also going to require an essay. Some are not going to require an essay. Some universities are going to require a recommendation letters. Others are not. Some universities might require you to send a sample of something that has been graded in high school, like a portfolio, or not. That's why it's so complicated, because each university might be looking for something different.
Yeah, this is, you are mentioned about this in the private universities or the public universities?
Any university is going to be different. So if you are looking at a university in Georgia, regardless of public or private, they might be doing something different.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Very welcome.
So there is a competition between students everywhere, all over the world, to be admitted. And what you advise the students, what helps the students to be admitted? So there is the requirements, and what else?
Again, very important to be working on doing your homework. And your homework starts with, what do you want to study? Okay.
Yeah.
Many students are going to start like that. If someone wants to study psychology, right, then make sure that university you are applying have a good psychology program. Once you start making your list, you also have to ask yourself, are you looking for a big university? Are you looking for a mid-size, small university? Are you going to be applying to public, to private? So all those questions, you need to start asking them with your families, with your parents, and then making your list. There are many websites, many ways to review what possibilities you have to be accepted or admitted. Usually each university is going to publish how many applications they received, how many of those applications are admitted, and they usually publish too what is the average GPA or the average SAT or the average ACT of the freshman class. So based on those expectations, for example, if I know that my GPA is a 3.0, you have to manage your expectation. I must be looking for universities that are taking students with that GPA. Because if you are a 3.0, but you apply to a university where you see that the GPA average is 3.8, most likely you are not going to be accepted. Most likely they are going to deny you. That's why you need to spend a lot of time doing your research and making sure that you are applying to universities that might offer you an admissions. Otherwise, you might be just spending money on those applications, and they will not admit you.
Okay. So sometimes the students apply for several universities and they find themselves they are rejected from most of it, because
this
they
year, let me scare you. This year, the average student is applying to 9 universities.
for each student.
As an average.
And the counselor and schools know all of the requirement for each university. Like they know that this students will not be, like if the students don't get 2.5 in GP, why to apply? And
well, the counselor don't know, but all those numbers, all that data, it's public. Okay. A university that says that they have an average of 3.8 or 4.0, it doesn't mean that they only take 3.8 or 4.0. Remember, what you do is you take the whole class of freshman students and you run an average. Okay. So maybe
Yeah.
that university did admit some 3.0, some 2.5, but maybe they're only admitting 5 or 10 or 20. So you
Okay.
have to ask yourself, if you have a low GPA, is your application interesting enough? Is your application good enough that you are going to be one of those few students that don't meet the GPA of the rest of the students? Okay.
But it's chosen for another reason.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
So the
some other
first,
reasons might be you have a special skill, a skill that might be as an athlete, a skill that might be a student that is amazing at playing an instrument. Maybe the university is looking for arts, or some students might be top quality students in specific skills that university might be looking for.
okay. So every student or family, parents, when they start this tour, they need to open the first thing in each website, university website, is the requirements.
If you go to the admissions page, there's going to be a section for requirements that will explain what are the minimum requirements to that university. And usually they also tell you those averages, the GPA average of the class. They tell you how many students they admitted. If you see that university says that they admitted 20%, see, that tells you that they are very selective. That means that for every 100 students that apply, only 20 are admitted and 80 are denied. If you
Wow.
see that the university says that they admit 50%, right? Then it's a 50-50. There are universities that admit 60, 70%. So those are public numbers that you need to be asking yourself. And usually families, when they are making their list, they also are going to try to go right to those universities to do a tour. And when they do that, they ask questions. They can always just email the school or call the counselors in the school and ask for those questions before you apply.
Yes. Okay. So it's like you as a student can apply for some universities with more guarantee that you are committed, or you are
Usually
that
school counselors always tell the students, make sure that you are applying to some universities that you are 100% sure are going to be accepted, right?
Yeah.
Apply to at least one or two universities that might be a little bit above your GPA range, because you never know, you might have a really good application. And always make sure that you have at least one application that you are 100% sure. Otherwise, if you are not doing like that, you are going to be wasting money, because each application is going to cost money.
Yes.
Anywhere from 30, 40. There are some applications that are going to cost $100, right? So
Yes.
if you are not careful, you apply to 4 schools, 5 schools. I mean, that's costing you $300-400.
Yes, I know that. Yeah. Thank you. So you told me about the 4 public university from 16, about they have engineering. So what's happening when a student in his early age choose something like engineering, like health, like whatever, and then after a year or 2 years he changed his mind? What is the system help him here? Is there like any way to avoid that, or to support him if this happen?
Hekmat, this is very common. Usually, there are studies that are telling us that each student is going to change their mind an average of 4, 5, 6 times. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and also we have a large percent of students who are never going to change. So if the student knows exactly what they want, right, the recommendation is go ahead and get into a school that's going to have that major, that program. If you are working with your child and your child doesn't know what he or she wants to study, my recommendation would be, well, maybe you need to go to a university that has a large variety of majors, right? So you can actually be exposed to many things and you have many options once you get to decide. Because if you don't know what you want and you go to a small school that only offers 15 majors or 20 majors, right? Now you are almost forcing yourself to choose one out of that small quantity. So keep in mind also that the students, when they apply, they are going to tell us, yes, I want to study engineering, I want to study chemistry or psychology. But when they are admitted, usually they are not admitted into that program, right? Because all those students that come in as first year, as freshmen, they will need to go through what we call general studies. And at the end of that, right, at the end of certain amount of credits, they have to declare. And that's when you say, okay, I'm now a psychology major, an English major. So usually for the first year or two, you don't have to know. And it's okay if you don't know, because you are taking your general, your basic classes. Everybody goes through a list. Each university is going to be different. One university is going to say, in your first semester, you need to take one English from this list, one science from this list, one foreign language, and one math. Okay, and it doesn't have to be the same, but you just go checking classes. Once you get to a certain point that you have certain amount of credit hours, then you have to decide. And that's the point where you declare your major.
Okay. Thank you. It's very important to know and to be prepared in very early age.
Yeah. And Hekmat, let me add something. Your question started mentioning
The universities about which is have engineering.
Yes, so let me remind you, the largest engineering school in the state is at NC State, North Carolina State, which is again the largest university. That university has more than 30,000 students, and NC State has 16 engineering programs. So most likely that's where you are gonna go if you know that you want some type of engineering program. UNC Charlotte, it's another large university, 28,000 students, and Charlotte has 10 programs in engineering. A&T, it's an HBCU, and they have 10 programs in engineering. And we are on that list, UNC Asheville. Remember, we are small. We have less than 3,000 students. We have one full program, and our engineering program is in mechatronics. Mechatronics is nothing more than robotics.
Okay. And Chapel Hill is the in the US or the biggest, or just in North Carolina?
Chapel Hill is not the biggest. The biggest is NC State. Chapel Hill is the most popular, what we call the flagship, the one that is known the most, because it's probably one of the most difficult ones to get into.
Yeah.
It's the most selective of the 16.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And could you please help us to understand why each university is famous in specific sports or interests, how students can know and benefit and choose? Because if the boy or the girl are practicing basketball and in school team, so he need to search for university, their team in basketball is strong and famous and care to have players. How this work?
Okay. The same way the student is going to be looking for universities with a specific program, they have to do the same with sports. Let's start with the basics here. There are 3 main categories in the US. That's Division 1. This is the most competitive, right? Where the the most competitive and the best athletes are gonna be. There's Division 2. Division 2, it's also competitive, but it's not as Division 1. And there's Division 3. Division 3, there are athletes where they are, again, a little bit less competitive, okay? The difference is that Division 1 athletes is where the larger schools, the best schools are gonna be. These are the schools that are probably gonna give you more money, more scholarships. Division 2, they also have scholarships, but they don't have large scholarships. They are not allowed to do full rides like the Division 1 schools. And Division 3, they are not allowed to give you scholarships for athletes. They might give you scholarships for merit, but not for athletes. So if you are looking for a scholarship, you have to ask yourself, are you good enough to be recruited? If you are, then go for Division 1 schools, right? Maybe you are a good athlete, but you know that you are not there. You are not a top athlete, but you are still good. Well, then you should concentrate on Division 2 schools. And again, just like you are looking for your major, maybe you are looking for a university that has a good psychology program and a good program in Division 2 basketball or a Division 1 basketball. You just go to the website. The university is going to tell you these are all the sports that we have, and they're going to tell you if they are Division 1 or 2 or 3. And those are the things that you are keeping track, and you are making the list for the ones that you want to apply. And of course, it's going to be important if the school is having a winning team or a winning season. Of course, those schools that are always on TV are the ones who are always good. Those are going to be the most difficult universities to be admitted to. But usually you make your list. If you want to go that route, usually what you do is you talk to your high school, your high school coach, regardless of the sport, if it's track, if it's football, if it's basketball, and you let them know that you want to apply to X or Y university. And usually those coaches are going to call or get in touch with the coaches at the university, and they say, hey, we might have a prospect athlete. This is the name, and they are planning on going to the university. If the university is interested, then sometimes they might contact you and they might ask you, send me your numbers, and then you send your profile. They might ask you for a video. So you need to have a video of yourself playing or running or swimming or something. And based on that information, then they might say, yes, come, we want to talk to you. We want to see you. You are a recruited athlete, right? Or they might say, no, thank you. We are not looking for that type of athlete. Maybe they are only looking for specific positions in the team. So it's very difficult. It's very complicated. There are certain times when they can talk to you. You can talk to them at any time, you as a student.
Yeah, because of this, the schools, all the public schools have, or most of the public schools have teams, and they have a competition, and they care, and there is clubs, and there is a special time and energy for sports in the schools.
Yeah.
To improve the students' skills and let them ready to be in university teams. It's
Exactly.
interesting. Thank you.
Mhm.
And this is a very interesting for me when you talk about UNC Asheville, that what is the meaning of UNC Asheville is liberal arts university? What is the meaning of this? And
Yeah.
for sure, there is several universities in the United States. In each state, there is some universities famous in that. But what is this meaning?
Yeah. Just like you said, out of all universities, there are different groups, there are different themes, right? There are some universities that are whose specialty is undergrads. That means that they don't have grad school programs, they don't have masters and PhDs or doctorates. There are universities whose specialty is research. There are universities whose specialty is liberal arts education, and that is my specialty. UNC Asheville is the liberal art and science university of the system. So we are the only one that specializes in that specific theme. And what is it? So what is to be involved in a liberal arts? It's a broad-based approach that prepares students for life and their careers. It usually involves more than studying a major, okay? So you might be an English major, you might be a psychology major, but you are gonna be provided with options to study your major from others' perspectives. So if you are in a music class, you are gonna try to find ways how that music class is gonna help you to be a better English major, a better psychology major. Liberal arts education is going to expose those students to a large range of knowledge in many fields. So we want students to be completely immersed into the arts, into the humanities, into social sciences, natural sciences, mathematics. We also are always looking for students who are going to develop certain skills like writing, someone who's going to write well, who's going to speak well, who's going to think critically, who's going to be ready to do research, someone who's going to be trained to be a leader, someone who can work as a team, someone who's going to be able to communicate. So as you can see, another university might be teaching English, and they're going to be very good at reading, writing, learning how to do all this in the English. We do the same, but we do it from different perspectives. Everything that the student is going to do is going to be trying to look for that specific major in a different way. And at the end, we want to almost guarantee that all our students are going to meet that criteria. Good thinkers, good writers, good speakers, good leaders, people that work well in a team, that communicates well with everyone. So that in a nutshell is the core of the liberal arts education. So exposing all students to many different points of view so they are well-rounded.
And which is in this generation and in this time, it's very, very, very important.
Very important, very important.
Yeah, especially the generation now are stuck with the computers and
exactly. Because another university might teach computer science very well, but you might end up with a student that is a very good person with computers, but has no social skills, and they don't know how to communicate with people, and they don't know how to be a leader, how to work with others. See, we take care of that. So we're going to try to do everything. We want you to be good with computers, but we also want you to be good with people and good being in front of people and communicate and work as a group.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So why is the mandatory for the first year students to live in a campus in most universities, even if his home close to the university?
Because there are many students that have proven that the students that live on campus are more successful, are more likely to retain from first year to second year, and are more likely to create connections that are going to help them graduate in 4 years. It has been proven. If a student doesn't live on campus, the probabilities of the students not being successful or not graduating in 4 years are going to increase.
Okay, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like this in many countries.
Yeah.
So how much is the annual tuition for NC students or out of state NC students? What is the difference?
Very good. And this is true for public universities, because remember, public universities,
yes,
will have 2 columns. One for the students of that state, that's called in-state tuition, and one for students from other states. That's called out-of-state tuition. Always, regardless of where you are, in-state tuition is gonna be cheaper. Okay, so that's one of the main things to tell people. So if you are in Florida, it's gonna be cheaper to study in Florida. If you are in California, it's cheaper to study in California. If you are in a state and you want to go to another state, it's gonna cost you more.
So
Always.
it's all the United States university is, if you are living in the state, it's different if you are coming from different state or different country?
Because each state is going to subsidize the education. See, the states want their students to study there and to stay there. So in order to incentivize students to go to college, right, they are making the tuition for those students a little bit cheaper. That's one of the reasons. So when we talk about how much does it cost, we go to tuition. Tuition, again, is what you pay for your classes. So in-state tuition is going to vary from each university. So remember, there are 16 public universities. Each one has a different price. Sometimes the difference is $50, $100. Sometimes the difference is $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. But each one has a different price. I'm going to talk to you about prices for my university. In my university, a full-time tuition, that means classes, what you pay for your classes, right? It's $7,460. That's how much you pay for the classes for a full year if you are a North Carolina student.
Okay.
If you are not from North Carolina, the tuition is going to cost $24,808 for one full year. That's just for the classes. And remember, there are many other lines that you also need to pay. But tuition is just the classes. So one more time, in my school, if you are from North Carolina, you pay $7,460. If you are not from North Carolina, they're going to charge you $24,808 for one full year of your classes. That gives you access to take at least what we call a full-time student is taking 12 credit hours. Okay, you can take more and the price doesn't go up. So sometimes we have a student that is taking 15 credit hours or 16 credit hours, and the number doesn't change. If you take less than 12, that number is going to be lower.
Okay, but this is the average.
Not the average. This is what my school costs.
Yeah, I mean of the classes per semester.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so it's what about the international students?
International students are considered out-of-state students. So they pay what other students from another state are going to pay.
Okay. And is there rights for the international students to have a scholarship in public schools, public universities, and private universities?
It depends to each university. Each university is going to decide if they let international students have scholarships or not. For example, in Asheville, we give a merit scholarship to every student that we accept. So each student that we are going to admit is going to have some type of scholarship, depending on your GPA. Remember your GPA, your grade point average. So if you get a 2.0, a 2.5, a 3.5, a 4.0, depending on that GPA, you get an offer of scholarship from us. Other universities, they might say, we only give scholarships to North Carolina students, or we only give scholarships to citizen students. So that's something else that you have to ask each university.
Okay. And It's the same system in the private universities. Each university has different.
Each one has a different way of doing it. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. At least there is hope. When there is
Yeah.
no criteria, that means there is hope for international students.
And for international students, remember, you can always explore the 4 NC Promise schools, because those schools, they might not have a scholarship for international students, but remember, they have a guaranteed tuition of $2,500 per semester. So that in itself, it's like a scholarship, because that is
Yes,
the cheapest tuition you are gonna find at a university in North
yes,
Carolina, or sometimes in the nation.
yeah, yeah. Yes, there is always a chances. So for the American students whom holding the citizen, they supposed to fill a form. It's FAFSA. And we want to understand what is FAFSA.
Yeah, FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's again a form, a survey that is available for all citizen students in the US. And based on that information that is going to be collected, each family is going to provide how much they make, how much they paid in taxes in the state, how much they pay for federal taxes, how many people in the family, and then they use a formula, right? And the formula is going to be given to all the universities that you tell them. So if I'm applying to 5 universities, I complete my FAFSA, the government completes the formula, completes the tables, and then they share that information with those 5 universities. And it's the same information for every university. And that is what we are gonna use, right? To know more or less where you stand and what's your ability to pay. The government might give you some grants and some scholarship based on that if you are on a specific bracket, or if you are on a high bracket, the government is going to tell you your family makes too much money, so you need to pay for your own college, your own education. Sometimes that's true, sometimes that's not, but based on that, you might get, again, free money, which is grants or scholarship, or they might give you access to loans. Loans is money that is not free. They give you that money for 4 years, but then you have to start paying back after 4 years or after you graduate. But all that information is collected and is going to be shared with the universities based on what you provide to the government in the FAFSA application.
Okay, so related to the financial situation for any students, let us make like a sample. Like if there is a student will apply to a university and the total cost for the university for a year is, let us say, $30,000. And he has a scholarship from FAFSA, 50%. And he has, maybe he will has a 30% from the university. So he will still will be able to pay 20, the rest of the package, which is 20% of the $30,000. Is this right?
That's a good example. That's a good example. The FAFSA again is gonna give you numbers, and those numbers are gonna be shared with the university, and then they know if your family is in which bracket, in the lower bracket, in the mid bracket, in the higher bracket, and based on that information, again, they know how much you are receiving in grants or in scholarships from the government, okay? Also from the state. The state might also be giving you free money. And that information is also gonna tell the school and the family how much you are expected to pay from your own pocket, okay? And sometimes the The FAFSA might say that you should be able to pay for 80% of your education. And again, sometimes that's true, and the family just goes ahead and they make that payment. Sometimes that's not true because maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you own land and you don't want to sell your land. See, so the money is not in the bank.
Yes, yes.
But then
It's-
based on that information, then the school is going to offer you loans, okay, through the government. They might offer you subsidized or non-subsidized, or they might offer you loans that are for the student or loans that are for the parent. But all that information comes based on what FAFSA says.
Okay, so it's like system. The family enter the information, the student enter his information and his parents' information in this, and the system is put him in which category, and maybe the system will say you are in category C as example, and you will have a scholarship for university 30%, and 20% of the university cost, it will be loan.
Exactly.
It will be, it sometimes work like that.
Exactly. And again, when the school gets all that information, right, the school, remember, because you're going to be getting money from the government, from the state, and you might also get money from the university. So there are three different sources. So maybe the government is going to give you $5,000. The state is giving you $4,000, and now you have $9,000. And maybe the university, you are a really good student, a really good athlete, a really good leader. The university is going to say, I have $2,000. See? So now the financial package is going to say you get this from the state, this from the government, this from the university. So in total, you are getting $11,000. But remember, the school costs 24. Okay? So maybe FAFSA said that you can pay 5. And then the rest, they're going to tell you the rest, it's going to be a loan. So you can take a loan for the rest, but you are expected to come up with $5,000. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes you have that money. Sometimes you don't. This is where it's important to understand that the students also have another possibility. Maybe because the university is not the only source of scholarship. You might be looking for scholarships that are outside the university. Your church might have scholarships. There are something called private scholarships like Walmart, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. Those companies, they have scholarships, and they are called private because they don't go to one specific school, they go to the student. See? So they give you the scholarship, and then you take that money to any university that you want to go. That's called a private scholarship.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's very complicated, but the system is it all comes out of FAFSA. If you are not a U.S. citizen, or if you are in the higher brackets, FAFSA might say that you don't get anything. So you are not gonna get any help from the government, or you might get very little help. And FAFSA might say that you are able to pay for your own scholarship. So it doesn't matter what you do, you just are not gonna get any grant or scholarship, unless there are some private scholarships that you are trying to get outside.
But it's just for the citizen,
just for U.S. citizens. Exactly.
U.S. citizen, yeah, not for any student.
Exactly, just for U.S. citizens.
Yeah. So could you please explain to us what is scholarship system and the North Carolina universities? So you already explained something, but
if you can follow here, the theme is it depends. And
yes,
each university is going to do something slightly similar, slightly different. Here again, just understand that scholarships and grants, this is free money. So you need to understand how they are going to do it. Sometimes they are going to do it for merit, and that is based on GPA, based on SAT versus ACT. Sometimes they are going to do it for need. Need is based on FAFSA. Maybe the FAFSA is going to say that your family cannot afford the university. And then this is what the university is going to say, okay, let me give money to this family that cannot afford this university. You have to understand that sometimes universities are going to have an application for scholarships. Others, they don't require scholarships. Some universities are going to have money in different departments. They have scholarships in admissions. They might have scholarships in the department that you are applying. There are universities that have money for first-year students and other money for students who are already in their major. So those are the things that you need to understand.
Like,
that each one is going to do it differently.
Yeah. Do you mean that the university has some scholarship for specific subjects in the university itself? It's not for any student. It's there is a scholarship for healthy students sometimes.
I have worked for universities that have a list of 500 universities, and you tell the students you have to read them all.
Yeah.
Because each one is going to be different. And usually they start, this scholarship is for a student from Buncombe County. See, so that they are telling you that only students from that county. This scholarship is for a student that wants to study chemistry. So only chemistry students can apply.
Yeah.
This scholarship is for a student who writes the best essay. So now that's like a competition. You have to compete with other students who write an essay. So your job as a student is find out how the scholarship is going to work in the universities that you are going to be applying to.
Interesting. What about scholarships for the international students?
Again, it depends on the university. Some universities will have scholarships, others will not have scholarships for international students.
Is it clear in their websites?
It should be. It should be. And if it's not, remember, always call. Always call and ask, I am an international student. Do you have scholarships for me? And where are they? And how can I apply?
Okay. This kind of information deserves to be collected, really. It's maybe we need to have another 5 interviews to understand more about this detail.
Hekmat, there are many websites that have that information already. For example, in North Carolina, there's a website that is called CFNC, College Foundation North Carolina, cfnc.org. College Foundation North Carolina, cfnc.org. This is a website that has all this information about all the schools in North Carolina. They have a section for scholarships and application, a section for application, a section for requirements, and all is in one single location. And there are many states that have their own website for their own states.
Thank you. I will check this and see it's how it's easy or complicated to reach to the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a very interesting things in the education system. It's named community colleges. What is that? Could you explain?
A community college, it's a public institution that offers 2-year programs. They also offer certificates and diplomas. So as you can see, those are short-term courses. So you can go to study to be an electrician, to be a plumber, to learn how to weld, to learn how to drive a truck. Or you go there because you want to take two years of basic studies, and then you want to transfer to another university. So basically, these are institutions that are called open door. Open door means that they don't deny anyone. They don't reject anyone. Everyone that goes there is going to be admitted. You just need to talk to them and tell them, what do you want? Okay. If you want a diploma, certificate, if you want to complete a trade skill, you tell them and they put you into a track, or you tell them, I want to transfer into a university later, and then they put you in the track to take the classes that you need to take. If you are in track to transfer, after 2 years, you graduate with an associate degree, which is half a bachelor's degree. Then you go to university and you tell them, I have 2 years of basic studies. They review the courses, they give you credits, and then you enter, hopefully, as a student that is halfway through your program. So community colleges are institutions that were created to prepare students who are non-traditional. What do I mean by that? So these are popular not for students who come out of high school, but for students who are already working, who are married, students that need a lot of options for classes, maybe at night, in the evening. So if you go to a community college, right, you will see that a community college doesn't have the traditional housing, the traditional dorms, like another university is going to have, right? And because of that reason, they are going to be cheaper. Their tuition is going to be a slightly cheaper, and it's a great way to start if you want to save a couple of dollars. Many students decide to start at a community college, and then they transfer and finish at another institution. There are 58 community colleges in North Carolina. So there are plenty of options. Usually there is one for the county where you at, or 2 or 3 counties together. They decide to have one, and then they have satellite campuses in the other counties.
Okay. And is for the students, if they take the first 2 years in the community college and then like engineering, like as example, and continue in another university, is there difference between them and the students who finish the 4 years in the university?
No, because if they finish at a university, it's going to say you are an engineer. It's not going to say you are an engineer who started at community college.
Approved, like the same, yeah.
You get the same diploma like everybody else.
Okay, and is there like cooperation and lines between the community college and the universities? Like the student in the community college, the community college can connect him with the suitable university and prepare the like supporting him, and or he need to make the same circle like the high school student.
It's on the student. It's on the student. Like I said, each institution is different. For example, for my institution, I am about to sign an agreement with AB Tech, which is our community college here in Asheville. And I'm going to sign one with Blue Ridge College, which is the second largest community college for me, trying to make this easier for them. So I'm going to sign something that's going to say that UNC Asheville is going to go to that community college 4 times a year. And I'm going to take an advisor that is going to talk to them about what they need to be taking, right? But each university and community college is going to do that with their own peers, or not. So it's on the student to make sure that they are talking and taking the classes and talking with the university that they want to apply.
But there is kind of agreements.
There's an agreement. If you are taking a college level class, okay. The agreement is that class will transfer to any public university. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, if you go to a community college and if you are not sure, they might ask you to take mathematics 95. Well, guess what? Everything that is below 100, it's not college level. So when you come to UNC Asheville or to NC State or to Chapel Hill, they're going to tell you, you have an A on mathematics 95. That doesn't mean anything for us. So those 3 credits are not going to transfer. So you have to talk to your community college and your advisor to make sure that you are on a transfer path that is going to take you, right, taking the right classes. And of course, some universities are going to be more complicated than others, like Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill might tell the students, if you want to transfer, you have to take this sequence of classes. So they are telling you. So you have to know that and take the sequence of classes. And if you don't do it, then they might tell you that they are not going to transfer all your credits. See, that's the difference between each university and how friendly they are going to be and how much they are going to work with transfer students or not.
Okay. Thank you. But it's still a very good solution for some kind of
It's
student.
a very good option for many students.
Yes. What is the cost attendance and what does it include in the university?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Remember that we talk about tuition, and tuition is classes, right?
yeah.
Let's add all the lines. So tuition is classes. There's a line that is called fees. Usually it's called tuition and fees that goes together. Housing, if you are going to live on campus or not. Usually, depending on how good, how new, how many amenities the dorm is going to have, your housing fees are going to be between $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12,000 per year. If you live on campus, then you have a line that is called meals, housing and meals, because you have, if you live on campus, you have to eat and buy the food on campus. There's going to be a line that is called books and supplies. This is something that you don't pay the university, but we are going to tell you that we estimate that you are going to spend X many dollars buying books and supplies in a year. There's a line that is called transportation. Again, this is something else that you don't pay to the university, but we are going to tell you that we expect you to spend X amount of dollars in transportation between the university and going home X many times a year. If you have a loan from financial aid, there's a line that is called loan origination fee. There's a line that is called personal. We know that we survey our students, and our students are telling us that in a year they spend this much money in personal things that they needed. And the last one, but not least important, is the health insurance. In North Carolina, if you go to a public university, you need to prove that you have health insurance either with your parents, or if you don't, then you have to buy it from the university. So again, tuition and fees, housing, meals, books and supplies, transportation, loan origination fee, personal, and health insurance. So all those 8 lines is what's going to add how much you pay in a year. And remember, for an in-state student, tuition was $7,400. When you add all these 8 lines, now your total cost of attendance is going to be $24,000 and a little more.
Yeah, this is for the UNC residents.
The North Carolina residents. If you are a resident of another state, let's see if I can find it real quick.
When you told me it was around 37, something like this. 37,000.
Yeah, it's high.
Yeah.
For an out-of-state student, $38,604.
So the difference is more than $10,000 between the NC residents and the, it's
exactly.
Yeah. And and the international is like non-NC residents.
Yeah, out-of-state residents.
Yeah, thank you. Families should start planning for the university dream since kids' early age. What do you advise the families after all of this information?
Yeah, they need to work with all the tools that the high school is going to offer. Remember, each high school is going to have a school counselor, and that's their job. They don't teach. They work with students, making preparation for when they are ready to apply. So as early as 9th grade, students and families should start having this conversation. Are they taking the right classes? Are they taking the right math, the right science, the right social science? Are you getting the right grades? And if you are not, then start making a plan. Maybe you need to study more. You need to stay for longer hours to do more homework. Because remember, all those actions that you are going to be taking since you are in ninth grade are going to influence your GPA, and your GPA influences where you are going to apply, where you are going to be accepted. So working with your school counselors, working with your libraries. Libraries have a lot of information about going to college. They have books to study SAT, ACT, books that compare universities, visit and plan college fairs. Remember, each university is going to have open houses or events where we are going to go to the high schools to talk to you, or we invite you to come to university so I can show you how we do things, how we do scholarships, what programs do we have. So making a plan, making a list, and starting early. If you are in 11th or in 12th grade and you are just starting to think about this, you are really late. You are really, really late. Mhm.
So it's from ninth grade, they're supposed to start collecting information and improving their students' grade.
Or sooner. I mean, I know families in middle schools that they are already trying to have a list of 5 preferred schools. And again, they might be doing it just to have fun, but they are already talking about it. So
Yes, a
have
lot of
that
information.
conversation early. So and there are many students who are going to say, I don't know, that's fine. But you need to keep exposing them and giving them opportunities to explore, right? So they start getting an idea of at least what they don't want. Because usually when they tell you, I don't know what I'm going to study, at least they can tell you, I don't like this, right? So at least you start checking that out. Maybe you don't like chemistry. Okay, now we can eliminate all the majors, all the programs that are going to have chemistry. So you start helping the student to get to know where the likes are going to be.
Okay. I don't know. I have a question. I don't know if we will, if you would like to answer it this time, or we can have another interview. Yesterday, I was in private school here, and the principal said to me that the grade 11 and grade 12, they are going not to the school. They are going. There is kind of cooperation between the school and the university, and the students go to the university. They are in 11th grade and 12th grade. They go to the university and finish the subjects in the university, not in the school. Is there any kind of
type of high school? Those are called early college high schools. There are many. There are usually 1 or 2 per county. Early college high schools is the most common name, and that they are either attached to a university or a community college. Okay. So starting in 11, sometimes in 10th grade, they are taking classes, some classes at the high school and some classes at the school, the community college or university. And when they graduate, usually they have enough credits to have either 2 years or an associate degree. So they graduate high school and they also graduate with 60 credits. So when they come to university, they are considered freshmen, but they have enough credits that they are already in 2nd year or 3rd year. That's a type of high school.
And is this give them guarantee to be accepted in the university?
They still need to complete. They still need to apply like every other student.
What is the benefit from this?
That you graduate with 60 credits for free, because you don't have to pay that.
Okay.
So imagine you graduate high school and you have 60 credits. So if you come to Asheville, you start at a 300 level. So you only need to complete 60 credits. So maybe you just need to pay tuition for 2 years and you finish your degree. So you save 2 years of tuition.
Okay. This is a very good solution. Is this for specific Students like the
Usually early college, they work, usually they work with a lottery. So all the students that want to apply to that high school, they put their names, and by lottery, they are accepted or not. Each county does it different, but the most common one is a lottery system.
Okay, interesting. So what helps the international students to get Fulbright scholarship and how they can reach the suitable university?
See, Fulbright, again, and I hate to say it, but it's just like a university, it depends on each country. There are 160 countries that work with the Fulbright scholarship, and some countries are going to receive more openings. Some countries are going to have a different process. In order to be a good candidate, again, you need to have high academic achievement. You call it GPA, grade point average, whatever system you use in your country, you have to be a top-notch student. You have to write well. You need to be fully fluent in English. You need to have an excellent project proposal, an excellent personal statement, excellent essay. You must have demonstrated leadership potential. So when you go there and you apply, you need to be ready to tell them what you want to do with the scholarship after you come back to your country. You need to be flexible. You need to be adaptable. You need to be easy to talk to, easy to work with people. The Fulbright scholarships are the most prestigious scholarships that they are, and they are difficult to get. But again, there are many opportunities. So you need to be a top-notch students, and something that I always tell the students, you need to apply many times. If you are looking for a scholarship, it needs to be your job. You need to put not one, not two, not three. You need to put 10 and 20 applications out.
So
I used to work for a university, and I used to have families telling me, we didn't get any scholarships. And I would ask them, so how many applications did you put? And they are like, no, we didn't apply. Okay, so that limits the applications that you are the scholarship that you might get. Because remember, some universities will give you scholarships without an application, but most universities will have an application for that. So again, understanding how the system works and making sure that you give yourself plenty of opportunities. So don't do one application, do 2, do 3, do 4, and do 5, as many as you can.
Okay, interesting. And Fulbright, it's full scholarship. The university cover all the cost for the student.
Usually Fulbrights are full rides. That means that they pay everything.
Yes, thank you. So we made a very important interview. It's full of very interesting and very value information. Mr. Marcio, thank you so much. And I expect a lot of questions from the families and the students whom interest to understand more. So we will keep in touch and send you the questions, and maybe we will plan for another interview to make other details more clear and more available for the community, for the people, for the US citizen and the international students. Thank you so much. And thanks for all the people who came.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was a pleasure. Just let me know, and I hope the information was useful, and if I can help answering other questions, just let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we will keep in touch, of course. And I will let you know about the comments from the community, from the people from all over the world and here in the United States. And it's really a very special interview full of amazing information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.